It's Red Sox versus Orioles. We are in extra innings. The Red Sox are down by 1, and they absolutely need to score here. So Abraham Toro is the automatic runner, but he is going to get replaced by Nate Eaton, who is really, really fast. So to start the inning off, Wong is just going to immediately lay down a sacrifice bunt to move Eaton over to third. So it's 1 out. The sacrifice fly is in play, and Roman Anthony is coming to the plate. All Anthony has to do is lift a pitch to the outfield, and the speedy Eaton can tie the game. And sure enough, Anthony is going to lift that out to center field. Is that deep enough? But oh no, Eaton doesn't go, and the throw sails wide. Eaton almost surely would have scored on that play, and the Red Sox fans cannot believe it. That would have tied the game, and of course Bregman is going to pop out in the next at-bat, and the Red Sox lose the game. So a lot of Red Sox fans were frustrated. Why didn't Eaton go there? After the game manager Alex Cora answered that question with a very frosty tone, he said, quote, "That's an impact arm in center field. We prepare before the series, and we decide who we're going to challenge or not, and in this case, we didn't challenge Cowser." And that's fair. Colton Cowser does have an elite arm, as we can see here. He's 94th percentile. Very, very impressive. We can see he's thrown some absolute lasers in the past. He is definitely a guy to keep your eye on. However, even though Cowser does have a great arm, that ball was hit pretty deep. StatCast says that ball was 265 feet, which is sort of right on the borderline of automatic send, as we can see from this Fangraphs research. This is a very interesting article in full. I'll link it down below. 275 is usually the automatic send range, so it's like 10 feet away from that. That's so close. You also have Eaton, who's a great runner, so that's a tough call, and I'm not really sure what the right decision is. However, I'm more interested in what the third baseman Luis Vasquez does on this play. So as we can see in the replay, when the ball is hit, Vasquez wanders over to third. He looks back at the runner and then positions himself to block his view. So when the ball is caught, Eaton doesn't have a great eye line of what's happening, which maybe caused him to hesitate a little bit. And that's exactly what Eaton tries to explain to the umpire here. Hey, he's blocking my view. But we can see the umpire just shakes his head. Now, what's really interesting to me is that blocking the runner's view is technically illegal, as we saw in this Mets-Dodgers game earlier in the year. We can see Muncy kind of wanders over and blocks the runner's view, and interference is called, so the run does score. So why wasn't it called here? Well, Alex Cora had a theory after the game. He said nobody calls that. Everybody does that, and they don't call it. Now, there's definitely a difference between this play and the Muncy one. The runner went on the Muncy play, and he got thrown out, whereas the runner did not go here. And we can sort of see that alluded to in this rule here. When the ball is not dead on obstruction and an obstructed runner advances beyond the base, which he would have been awarded because of being obstructed, he does so at his own peril and may be tagged out. So basically in this case, Eaton never went, so it's harder to argue that he definitely would have been safe had the obstruction not happened. To use a football term, Eaton never drew the flag on that play because he never went. In the Marte play, we can see he definitely got thrown out. So maybe in the umpire's judgment, he said, okay, clearly if it wasn't for that obstruction, Marte would have gotten a little bit better of a jump, which would have let him score. There's also one scenario that I wanted to mention related to this rule in the rule book, and that is when there's a runner on third with 1 out, similar to this play, batter hits a fly ball, runner goes back to third to tag up. Third baseman approaches the runner, faces him, and jockeys back and forth, intentionally trying to block the runner's view. The ruling is this is obstruction. Now, the difference between that hypothetical third baseman and Vasquez is the hypothetical third baseman is facing the runner. He's waving his arms. He's jockeying back and forth. Very, very obvious. What Vasquez did was a lot more subtle. So that maybe could be why the umpires didn't rule it as obstruction in this case. So to sum it up, even though blocking the runner's view is technically obstruction, it seems that umpires will not call it unless A, it's blatantly obvious, and B, unless the runner tries to go and is thrown out. In this case, Vasquez takes advantage of that gray area and helps his team win the ball game.